Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial video, and today we're going to look at how to build a very simple expenses worksheet, something you can manage your incomings and outgoings with. So on screen I've got a blank Excel worksheet. Let us begin by giving this some headers for our expenses. So the date of the expense, we'll say a type. Each expense will have a type. We might want to add a comment to it to give it a bit more information. Whether it is incoming or outgoing, and we'll have a running total, so I'll have a balance on there. Let's also give this format it a little bit so it looks a little bit easy to look at when we've got a lot of data in. So what I want to do is I go to the top left cell A1, I press Control and Shift and go right, and it highlights across to the right all of the completed cells, so it goes to F, and then I press Control and Shift and down, and that's taken me all the way down to the very lowest cell in Excel. Now if I go to format as a table, this is quite nice. I can there's a lot of different options here to change the look and feel of this. So if I choose this orange style, it's the columns A to F, so it's the complete columns. There's no it's not worrying about a particular amount of rows. It's all the way down, columns A to F. I have a header, click OK, and it adds a little bit of formatting. Actually, I want to change that, so let me just do that again. Highlight that, Control Shift right, Control Shift down, and let's change that to be maybe this one. A little bit better. So now we've got it looking a little bit better. Let's start adding some data. So we've got a date field here. So let's say 1st of Feb 2025. Now we want to give it a type. We can start typing information here if we wanted to, nice and easy. Or if we want, we can build a list. So we can, if we know what expenses we're going to have every month, better than to build a list. So that we can't mistype things. If we're going to analyze this data at a future point, we want all this data to be, no kind of spelling errors to kind of mess up the data. So let us make this field a list of options. So if I'm in this field now, if I do Control Shift and down to highlight all the way down here, and if I go to data, now in the data tab, in this data tools here, you might see a button called validation, depending on how big your monitor is. However, I don't have that option here. So I've got this drop down here on this button that says data validation. And if you click on data validation, and I'm going to say it's a list. And I'm going to give it items that I think I will use in my expenses. So I'll have a wage, and this list is comma separated. So I'll have a wage, I'll have maybe shopping, I'll have something like social, I'll have mortgage, I don't know, or even something like bills, maybe something like that. So we'll have 4 items here. Now if I click on this in this column here, now you can see I've got this little drop down. So if I go to here and I can click on the drop down, it offers me those 4 things. So that's quite nifty. So I'm going to say wage. I don't need to put a comment in. It's the wage. It's incoming. So let's put it down as 2,000. And then let's add another one here, and we'll say okay. So now I've got this list here to choose from. So I'm going to start typing shopping. It's going to bring up shopping as an option there. While it's brought this up, I can just press tab and it puts shopping in here. And I'll put, I don't know, Tesco. And it's an outgoing, so I'll say it was £90. And maybe I'll say 2 days later, something social, went out for a meal maybe, and it was £70. Okay, so we're starting getting a little bit of data in our expenses sheet now. Let's look at doing a bit more formatting. So we've got values here. All these three columns are going to have values. So I want to highlight all of these three, and we're going to make them look more like a monetary value. So if we go to home, in fact, we don't need to go to home. We can do it here. We've got this little option here to select English United Kingdom. Or if we right click in these cells and we go to format cells and we go to currency, in here we can choose what currency we're interested in. 2 decimal places, yep, click OK, and it formats our values. So it's looking a little bit better. Okay, the last thing I want to do then is just get this balance working. So let me just move these down a little bit. So I want to get the balance working. So we've got some sort of running total that keeps up to date. So let's go to this cell here, F2. The first balance is going to be, it's not calculated. It's just going to be whatever this value is here, I guess. So if we say equals that, £2,000, perfect. Now this balance is going to be this balance and then some sort of calculation based on these two columns. Okay, so if it's some incoming, then we need to add to that balance. If it's an outgoing, we need to take it away. So in here, I'm going to say equals. I'm going to say this value, and then I'm going to say plus this value, and then I'm going to say minus this value. Now, what you'll notice, if you're used to doing formulas where you put in D3 and E3 and that sort of thing, what you'll notice is you're not seeing that now. It's saying incoming and outgoing because that's the column it's referring to, the incoming and outgoing column. So you'll see that instead of F2 specifically, D3 and E3 specifically, as I've clicked on them, it's just said, right, I'm looking at this column as opposed to a particular cell. And that's fine, that's how it should work. So when I've got that in a presenter, now what you might find is it automatically puts this down here. So if I wonder if I can make it do this. What you might find is it does this. So what it's done is, because you've got a table, this is all set up in a table, this style that we've selected. When you start putting things in here, formats, styles, functions, it will put them all the way down, the whole column for you. So you need to kind of stop that. So if I go back to here and I say equals F2, it's then said, right, okay, hold on a second. Oh, well, there you go, that's fixed it. But if it didn't fix it, in some cases, that says that there saying equals incoming would be all the way down here, equals incoming all the way down. And in which case you go to here and you would make, you would have different options here to say, don't automatically copy the formula all the way down. So you'd have to select that formula, and then it would then undo what it did, and it would keep this as equals D2, and it would keep this as F2 plus incoming outgoing, but it wouldn't automatically put it all the way down, in which case you would copy this. So I've copied it. You see the little dotted lines around it. I've copied that, and if I go to the cell below and I do Control Shift and down, if I press Enter, it will then copy that formula all the way down. So that's the starting point, and now this is going to be, it's going to change depending on these values. Okay, so if we go to here and we say 05, 02, 2025, no, let's do bills, and then we say £35. So you can see these things are now changing, and actually maybe on the 6th, you got a wage that was a bonus, and it was £120. So now you can see the values are going down and they're going up depending on the values in these two columns here. The last thing we want to do is we don't want to see all of these values all the way down here. That's not really what we want to see. We just want to see kind of the running total, which is going to be the lowest value of a row that's got data in. So we don't want to see this same value all the way down here. So let's go back up to here. The first value that we actually put a calculation in. What we want to say is only show me anything in this field if there's something in here or there's something in here. And we can do that by adding a formula to the beginning of this. So if I go to here, after the equals and before the F2, we're going to say to it, only put anything in this field if there's something in D or E. So we're going to say if, then brackets, and then because we're looking at two columns, looking at column D and column E, we're going to use the keyword and. And allows us to do two or more, multiple conditions. So we're going to say, within our and, we're going to say D3 equals empty string, which is two double quotes, and then comma for the second condition, E3 equals empty string. And then that's our condition. So the and is saying D3 is blank, E3 is blank. If that's true, then comma, make it blank. And then put a comma again. Otherwise, put the value, the calculation that we put in. So if I do that and press enter. Now, what we've got here, because we've turned off this automatic formula correction thing, if we go back to here and we copy that like we did before, and we go to here and we do Control Shift down, we press enter, it will update our formulas. So now we're not getting any data in here because we've got this if and condition here. But we're getting this horrible little green box here. It basically says, I'm not overly comfortable with the formula. I don't like the formula. Are you happy with the formula? So you can ignore this. You can choose ignore the error. And if you ignore the error, the little green square will go away. But obviously I've only done it for one here. So if I go back up to this here, if I can go one above, and now do Control Shift down, now I've got the whole column highlighted. That little exclamation mark is still there. So if I click on the drop down and I say ignore the error, and I go back to the top, all the little green triangles have gone. So now if I come to here and I say, okay, on the 8th, we did social, we went to the cinema, and it was £25. So right now, before I finish putting the £25 in, there's nothing in the balance column. If I put £25, a balance will appear. That's all I'm going to show you in this video. I'll do another video looking at how we can analyse that data and look at it by month using pivot tables and other functions. But for now, hopefully that was helpful. Thanks a lot for your time. See you next time.